friends, it's Allison. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be playing with stencils once again, and specifically some layering stencils. So let's get started. We are going to start with this new die from Waffle Flower. This is the pop-up tree die, and I've already cut a white panel and I've actually trimmed that. It's slightly smaller than A2, so it's a little bit less than 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I'm going to place this panel on one of my grip mats. This happens to be my 6x6 grip mat. And that's going to hold my paper in place while I stencil. So we're going to use the Duotone Trees stencil set. And Waffle Flower has a lot of these sets with the pop-up dies and then the matching stencils. So this first stencil will color one half of the tree, and then the second stencil colors the other half. So I am using tape just to section off my stencil today. Normally I would try to use, oh, and by the way, these are the Rainbow Splash inks from Simon Says Stamp. That's what I'm going to be using today. These were recently released during Stamptember, and they are gorgeous. The first color I'm going to be using is C. This is the darker of my two blue colors. And by the way, I have my smallest grip mat over to the side. It's going to be holding my inks. As I was saying, I'm using tape today to section off my stencils. Normally I would try, not to use tape. And by the way, here I'm using my second color of blue. This is Lake. Usually I would try to use the carrier sheets that come with the grip mats to kind of mask off my stencils. But because these trees, especially the third section that I'm about to tape off, they're not completely straight. So I just chose to use tape. But I will reuse this tape. And by the way, this is my Altenews satin tape. All right, the third color is Lime. And I'm just going to come in here. And I know this looks like it's going fast, but it's just, other than the taping, it's just basic stenciling. So here are the results of the first stencil. And now we're going to come in with the second stencil, and it's really easy to line up, as are all of Waffle Flower's layering stencils. And I'm going to section off now the middle section. I want to use this lime ink one more time while I had it on my brush already. So I'm putting the lime ink in this middle section, and you could see I was kind of wiping off the tape because these inks are very saturated and juicy. So I wipe off the tape just so I don't pick up the wrong ink colors if I touch the tape with my brushes. All right, now I can tape off for this third section over here, and I can move on to my darker green. It's easier for me to go from the light to the dark. I don't have to clean my brush in between when I'm going in from light to dark, so that's why I had done that middle section first. All right, so now I'm taping off that left section. I'm coming in with my lighter color of blue, which is Lake. And there we are. Now I decided I wanted the dark blue to be slightly darker. So I just came in with my first stencil again and just making it a little bit darker. And I love the gradient that I've created here. All right, so remember this is a pop-up die, and that means these trees are only connected at the top and the bottom. So I have this little stylus tool, and I am using my T-square ruler just to create kind of a crease down the middle of the tree. And this is just how I found it to be the easiest way to fold up these trees. Now, I also used pretty thick paper. If I had used thinner paper, like 80 pound or even 100 pound, it would have been easier to pop up the sides of these trees. But I was trying to be really careful with them, and I was using my bone folder, the flat edge of my bone folder, to push against that middle crease and fold it up. Now I have this tree off to the side. Don't mind that. I'm not going to use that. I had kind of been playing around with that, and I was going to use a tree of this shape And so you'll see me coming in every so often while I'm popping up these trees, because I don't want to pop up every tree on the panel. I just wanted to pop up some of them. So I was placing that tree where I thought I was going to place it for my final card assembly, and that's how I was choosing which tree to pop up. So although I didn't end up using that tree, I did end up using something else that I was able to place, kind of in the same spot. So again, just trying to figure out which trees to pop up, and using my little stylus to create that crease down the middle and come back in with my bone folder. And I love all the pop-up dies that Waffle Flowers come out with, and the matching stencils. All right, now remember I had said this panel started out a little smaller than A2 sized, so I'm gluing it onto a green card base, and there'll be a very small bit of green surrounding this. And I'm avoiding those spots on the back where I have a tree popped up. I don't want to put any glue on those because I want them to remain popped up. All right, so my main feature, I have chosen the Gnome Drive Holiday. So adorable. This is from Spellbinders. And these two blue colors of cardstock, those are from the Rainbow Splash collection. So they match the inks that I used before. And I chose to make my car not basic, but nothing fancy here. I used blues and whites and blacks, but I mean, it doesn't matter what color you use for this car. It's going to be adorable any way that you assemble it. And it's really easy to put together, as are all Spellbinders sets. And if I ever seem distracted in this video, it's because I have a dog right next to me. I don't usually bring my dogs in when I'm recording, but my husband is not here right now, and if I leave them to their own devices, they'll probably start barking at something. So I chose to bring them in here, and so I forgot how demanding my younger dog is. He has to be pet at all times if he's near you. So I am talking and petting at the same time. So I'm just finishing up the car assembly, and again, just basic colors. I will come in with some silver glitter cardstock for the headlights, just to add a little bit of glam. So here those are. And again, could this car be any cuter? All right, so here's my little gnome. I actually cut off his legs, poor little guy, because I'm going to have foam tape on the car, and so I need to be able to tuck him in. So I had to chop off his poor little legs. And I've cut out some presents and his hat with pattern paper. So the presents and the hat are from pattern paper, and all of these dies are from that Gnome Drive set. Okay, so my Merry sentiment is from the Print and Script Merry Christmas die from Waffle Flower. You've probably seen me use the print version of the Merry from that set on other cards recently, and I love this script version. So I'm tucking my gnome in, and again I had popped up that car on foam tape, and here he is. He's ready to deliver presents to everyone. All right, here's my next card. How cute is this? This is the Layering Apples stencil set. Now, I made a video featuring this set where I showed lots of different ways of using this. This is from Simon Says Stamp. I will link to that video at the end of this one so you can see that panel. That I actually created that panel in that video. And I've used vellum to cover most of this panel because I am using similar colors for the car, and I wanted, the little car and the apple to stand out. So I've positioned tape behind the car and behind where I'm going to put a balloon. So those are the only two spots where the vellum is attached to the panel. All right, so the apple, he is from the Gnome Drive graduation set. Now, the Gnome Drive collection has several add-ons. It has this add-on, and you can see the little die for the pencil and the glasses. And there's actually a little face that I could have cut into my apple, but I chose to just make my own little eyeballs from smaller little round dies. And there's a diploma, and there's a little cap with a tassel. Very cute. All right, my heart balloon is actually from another add-on, the Gnome Drive Hearts for You. And again, you can create a little face for the hearts, and there's an arrow. There's several different sizes of hearts. And there's one more add-on set. There's a Gnome Drive Spring, and I think there's also a stamp set. And you can buy all of the collection in a bundle from Spellbinders at a discount. So I'll have that bundle linked below. It's obviously a super fun collection. All right, my sentiments are from the Schoolhouse Messages stamp set. This is a recent release from Simon, the Rainbow Splash Collection. So there's the best teacher. And I want this A+ on the balloon, but I don't want that circle around it. That is part of the stamp. It stamps the circle. So yes, I am cutting my stamp because I decided probably when I'm going to be wanting to use this A+, I'm probably not going to want the circle. So I'm willing to sacrifice the circle forever. And I encourage you, if you ever want to alter your stamps, do it. You know, if you have a sentiment strip that's really long and you only want part of the sentiment, cut it apart. You can always put the two back together again. Now this one, I'm not going to be able to put together again, let's face it. But again, I had decided that I was comfortable just cutting the circle off forever and only having the A+. So I'm just being very careful around the edges not to cut, you know, obviously any of the A or the plus. And you'll see I'm going to use some Pink Fresh Olive ink to stamp this. You'll see it stamps perfectly. And I'm really happy I did it. I just find it to be more useful going forward. Now to make this into a balloon, you can see the string I had already made from the color block balloons set from Spellbinders. And this little guy right here is from that same die set. And that's going to create the bottom of the balloon for my heart. So now it just looks like more like a balloon. And I will pop that up on foam tape. And again, there's tape underneath where this heart is that's holding the vellum to the panel. And I decided to add a little red heart to tie in with the red in the apple. And there we go. That is done, and I love it. And I mentioned that I saved this panel from when I originally played with these layering apples stencils. And I'm glad that I saved it because I think it's the perfect background for this little guy. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, and I would love it if you subscribed. I would love to have you here. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.